We all know very well out on the East Coast right now. One of Mike Ditka's most fiery and interesting relationships, of course, was with quarterback Jim McMahon. Fans and the media became fascinated by the verbal sparring that they had once in a while when McMahon was here. Going to talk to Jim in a minute, but first a couple of examples of the relationship between Jim McMahon and Coach Mike Ditka.
Oh, he's full of excuse my French. You know, he's a guy that I talk to him all the time. I ask him what's the matter, he won't talk to me, you know. If the whole thing in society is to pout every time you disagree with somebody, forget it.
Why does he say I'm pouting? Because I don't go kiss his so that means I'm pouting?
When it's all said and done, Jim McMahon won't write my epitaph. And I would imagine that we'll just see who writes his.
I'm going to write my own epitaph. It's probably going to say, "What are you looking at?"
Those were fun days when Jim McMahon was back around. Of course, he's no longer a Bear. He is with the Philadelphia Eagles, now getting ready for the playoffs. Tonight, Jim joins us live from his home out in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Jim, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good after reminiscing there for a minute.
Does that stuff bring back some good memories?
Yeah, it made me laugh. Yeah, it's, you know, we did have some interesting times, and I think, you know, I've talked to Mike on a number of occasions since I've left, and even when I was there, I told him I would have loved to play with him. I know Johnny played with him, and he was a hell of a football player, and I think he would have had a little different perspective on me had he ever get in the huddle with me. But unfortunately, we couldn't do that. But I played for him, and I had a lot of respect for the way he cleaned house. When I first got there, it was his first year, and he got rid of a lot of guys that really were just hanging around collecting paychecks. And but we did have a good nucleus of ball players, and we brought some other people in, and we had a great football team. And you know, we won it all, and you know, we should have won it a few more times, but unfortunately, you know, those things didn't happen.
So, Jim, what was your reaction today when you finally heard the news?
Well, I saw it coming. You know, when he mentioned bringing me back a couple days ago or last week, I knew that was probably the last straw because of Mike McCaskey. Him and I never saw eye to eye, and I don't think anybody that plays for him is somebody that's going to have to kiss his butt. And that's something that I'm not going to do for anybody to have to get a job. And I knew once he said that he would like to bring me back, that was probably the last straw for him.
Jim, what do you remember best about Mike? I think, you know, as you look at as him going off now, and whether it's TV or another coaching job, when you look back on Mike Ditka and the times you had, is there one thing that sticks out to you that you'll always remember best?
Well, there's a lot of things I'm going to remember. You know, our confrontations for sure. I think one of the funniest things I ever saw was when he broke his hand. I think it was '83. After a ball game, he turned and punched a locker, and that's going to stick with me for a long time. But you know, he's always been a fiery guy when he played and when he coached, and he was the same way during the years that we were winning than he was this year. Unfortunately, this year, when things aren't going well, some of his sideline antics get magnified in the media, and you know, when we were winning, those kind of things got just kind of blown over. You know, those were his motivational things or whatever. But you know, he's been the same guy since he's got there, and you know, it's just unfortunate that you know, it had to happen the way it happened this year.
Well, Jim, obviously things went terribly for the team this year, but as Mike Ditka said, you know, they need more and better players. As you look at the team from afar and look at the players, for example, at the quarterback position, would you play? Do you think that Jim Harbaugh has what it takes to get him to a Super Bowl?
Well, you know, I wasn't around him long enough. He was there, I think, only 1 year, maybe 2, and never played. So, but just from what I've heard from his own teammates and from people around the league, there's not a whole lot of respect for the guy. A lot of teams would much rather see him in there than anybody else. But, you know, he's the kind of guy that McCaskey likes because he likes McCaskey, and those are the kind of people he's going to keep.
Speaking of McCaskey, are you surprised that he and Ditka were able to live together this long, that it lasted as long as it did, knowing both of them real well?
Yeah, I'm very surprised it's lasted this long, and I think you were right, or Johnny was right when he said this is probably a blessing for Mike to get out, because, you know, without any control of what's going on with the players you want to pick and the players that you need, you know, you're really kind of, your hands are tied. And I know it was very frustrating for Mike having to lose ball games because of the guys that he has on the team are not really the kind of guys that you need.
Okay, Jim, well, thank you very much for coming on with us tonight. I know Bear fans are glad to see you again. You bring back a lot of good memories, and good luck in the playoffs, all right?
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, Jim McMahon, and we've got another couple of current Chicago Bears